Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Dealing with divorce as an introvert. Life after divorce. Hey all, I've been separated for 3 weeks. My wife left me and is totally emotionally moved on from day one. We have been together since high school. We have a toddler son together. I am still absolutely devastated by the divorce. I am an extreme introvert and an atheist, though most people don't know I'm an atheist because I've kept it secret to avoid their potential ostracizing. I don't have any friends that I feel I can be totally honest with. I have 3 friends outside of my family. One is an alcoholic and a bad influence. One is a devout Christian and has nothing but Bible verses when I talk to him about my issues. One is kind of a scumbag and extremely selfish. I feel like the only reason I'm friends with them is because we have similar interests in video games/board games. As smart-ass as it sounds, I feel like I can't have a conversation with any of them because I don't feel they match me intellectually. I don't get any intellectual fulfillment from talking to them or hanging out with them. They do genuinely care about me and I for them, but I just don't enjoy talking or hanging out with them really. It's hard to explain. I have a loving family, nearly all of them extremely Christian, but they have their own set of issues and I really do not enjoy spending time with most of them except my brother. My brother I cannot have intellectual conversation with at all, he's just a good fun friend. My STBXW, however, was my best friend. We could chat about anything, she is my intellectual match. I feel like I can talk to her about anything and we can go back and forth on it for a while and I feel satisfied. Of course, she is now basically ghosting me. She's moved on fully, to a point where she gets annoyed whenever I try to talk or hang out with her outside of co-parenting days. Now I am left with no one I feel like I can really talk to. On top of that, I am an introvert who has always hated going to parties and generally socializing. I was always content with just having my best friend at home to talk to whenever I wanted, and I thought it would be that way till I died. I didn't think I needed other friends. She, on the other hand, is living with her 2 best friends who are closer than we ever were together and she's happier than ever. It almost feels like the universe is rubbing it in my face. Look at how close she and her friends are. They love each other. Now she's left you and you're left with no one. Now that she has left me, I am extremely lonely, craving so much that deep intellectual conversation, but I simply don't have anyone to have it with. Not to mention the physical affection like hugs/cuddling/etc. Doing some self-reflection since the separation, I feel like I've never had a truly close friend other than my wife. I almost feel like it's impossible for me to have an emotional connection with anyone else other than her. I've simply never met anyone who comes close to matching the quality of conversations and connection that I had with her. I strongly crave a deep relationship, but I just know I'm not ready for that yet. 3 weeks after a blindside, who am I kidding? Lol. However, I've thought about trying dating sites to try out dating different women. My wife has been with me since high school, so I have no adult dating experience at all. I'm in my mid-20s, so it's a weird mixed situation of still in the young dating years, but how are you already a single dad? Ew. Lol. My gut tells me most women my age will be put off by me being a single dad. I am interested in trying the casual dating life, but I doubt it will help with the emotional issues I'm having. It will just be short-term fun if I can even get a girl to take a chance on me as a single dad. Any other introverts out there lose their best friend and not have any close friends to lean on? How do you cope with it, or get yourself out there to make friends? I get how you feel a lot. I'm an introvert, but I'm on the other side. The woman who was done. I refuse to be treated like a doormat, etc. etc. But I'm angry, his selfishness took away my best friend. My parents are gone. My brother died this year too. My friends are limited to my work family. I don't like crowds, I don't like parties. I like to be around people, but often feel alone if I don't have someone by my side. It's lonely, but we'll make it. One day at a time. I wish you the best of luck. It's surely been hell for me, and I'm sure it has been for you too. Like you say, we will make it, one day at a time. I've never had a situation in my life I felt I couldn't fix or make a concrete plan to fix, until this. It seems like losing a cherished relationship is just something you have to grit your teeth and just wait for the grief to subside, months or years even. It's no doubt the hardest thing I've experienced. You too. It's the having to force myself into an introverted role to meet new people. Sure, I'm a fun person to be around, but it's draining. And not having someone to scoop you in your arms when you both get home and let the world slip away. Not that I've had that in a while, but anyways, doesn't give me that recharge time. You're younger than me, you'll be just fine. Take your time. At 34 I feel a little bit of beating the clock, but I'm grateful we didn't keep hanging on longer than we did, as it's still possible right now. Did she leave with your kid? The kid part for me was the hardest part. Getting over the mom is easy for me. We're all free humans. If she was unhappy and you love her, you'll understand and want her to be happy. Nor that's what makes my situation a little different than the average. She basically left without much care for our son or our assets. She's basically letting me have full custody and most of the assets. I think she's in the honeymoon fog they speak of. Not that I think she physically cheated, but she absolutely emotionally cheated. You're so lucky. Let her go back to the streets where she belongs. There is no emotional cheating. If you could see her hidden actions, it would be a different conversation. You're the winner, let it go. Can't believe how lucky you are. Seriously, lawyer up and enjoy. Make the divorce official before she changes her mind. Also find ways to keep yourself busy, going to the gym, picking up a hobby and joining a club/class. You might even meet some new friends. Definitely am trying to get a divorce agreement ASAP. Good advice, thank you. Damn, if I was given my son I'd be happy AF. But then again, if she's deadbeat for my son I'd be a bit angry for my son. Hopefully she comes around and wants to be there for him at least part-time. Best wishes, I'd be happy. Get a dog. That will tick a lot of boxes for you. When you start dating, don't you dare mention your ex for even one sentence to these women. Being a single dad is not a turn-off. In fact, many people see it as a sign of responsibility and worth. Being hung up on your ex is a total turn-off. You're single and don't keep yourself out of it. Go out and do what you want, such as going out in contact with nature. Let your mind relax about the past. Mid-20s. 2 kids. No problem with potential dates. But go get some parent friends. There's plenty of people with kids. You don't have to meet new people with the intention to date. Just meet new people. I was in that mental state of I'm a single parent now. Yeah, I got my flaws, but it's the so that walked out lol. You're going to be fine. Good to hear. Have you had any success with dating apps, or are you strictly meeting people Earl? My introverted personality makes it kind of daunting to get out there and meet people just for the sake of socializing, but I am in the process of breaking out of that funk. Dating apps. I haven't met up with people yet because I'm flaky and things keep being dysfunctional. My ex. But literally everybody got kids. This isn't college lol. There is literally plenty of fish. Feels weird as hell to be this young going through it, but there's a life and a world after being left. I'm also an atheist, raised in an extremely religious environment. My ex also left and moved on with who knows how many guys since day one, and I managed to just immerse myself in things I enjoy. Although talking with people about this is important, one huge mistake to me you're doing is wanting to be friends with an ex. To my scale of values, you shouldn't want to have a relationship with someone who basically thought so little of you as to end your relationship. So I keep it strictly business and have zero interactions outside what is required, and to the extent is required. Not an iota more. It really is a bad look on you as a man to want to keep contact with your ex. The only way to expose yourself to other women is to take part in activities women take part of, through friends and acquaintances and through maybe work. There is no secret, try and that's it. Invest in yourself and see what you can get. Dating apps during separation, can this hurt my case? Hey all, I've been considering hopping onto dating apps to try casual dating, nothing serious yet, I'm not ready. We are currently just separated, in the process of drafting up divorce agreement, waiting on my lawyer to draft it up ASAP. I have a lot of free time ATM, and I feel I'm ready to try casual dating. I haven't done it since high school. Just for fun and hop on these apps, but I'm wondering if it could hurt my case in the divorce. The STBX and I are amicable on all the business ATM, but as I know from reading other people's stories, that can change in a heartbeat, especially when her new fun and free lifestyle crashes down. My prediction is it will start to spiral for her once she runs out of her split of our money. If I were to try dating apps, could she use this against me in court if it came down to that? Like, could she lie and say I was cheating or something? Hopefully it won't, but I'm trying to plan accordingly. Just a word of warning, a lot of women in their 30s and 40s are major headaches on the dating apps. I've run into those that clearly are in it for the money, some just want free meals and gifts, but the worst pretend to care about you because you got out of your marriage with money and income. But do have fun, just beware getting serious. I don't think I'd get serious for at least a couple years minimum, because you don't really get to know a person, well ever, but at least a good understanding for some time. Yep, you don't know someone until it's too late. This needs more upvotes. This is a scary fact. Agreed. Fortunately, if you find one with generally the same level of income or more than you, then it's fantastic. Can be fantastic. Just because a woman earns a good income doesn't mean she won't have that female nature that we all worry about. That's why you keep it separated, finances, home, etc., and don't get married again. You both can choose each other each day with no strings attached and walk away just as freely. Solid advice. It's beyond me why anyone who just went through a divorce would even want to start dating in the first place. It's like willingly subjecting yourself to more torture via female nature. Loneliness. Been there. Actually in this same boat, and got worried enough that I deleted all the dating apps and decided I could wait the month until the mediators have drafted our decree. It's not worth the risk. Also, how much are you paying this lawyer to draft the divorce agreement up, and how long is that process going to be from start to finish? I'm not entirely sure. I got a ballpark hash of $750, but that seems kinda cheap, right? It's been a couple of weeks since I consulted and they're just now starting on drafting it up. Not sure how long it'll take. That does seem cheap. The mediators quoted us $3,600 flat fee to do everything from start to finish, but damn is it a lot of money. I so wish. My ex and I burned over $50K each of my money for the divorce. Honestly, I could spend another $50K if I wanted to go back and keep fighting. Seems like it costs more the more you have. Thank the good Lord I'm poor. Was I really that bad of a husband? Vent/rant/FML. Hey all. 1 month separated, 9 years together, 5 married, we're in our mid-20s. We have a toddler son together. I'm going to try to tell the story of my marriage as fully as I can, but of course it is a summary. I have a ton of regrets throughout my marriage and the guilt is eating me alive. I just need to vent, I guess, but I also want to know what you all think of my story and if I'm really as awful as she says I am. We got married and moved into a cheap home a family member rented to us cheaply. For the first 2 years of our marriage we were both job hopping, until I got a good stable job that could provide for us. For the entirety of our relationship I always asked her to take care of the home and errands while I focused on work. There were times when I was unemployed but still didn't contribute to the home. This I regret. She pulled more weight than me all the way up until year 3 when I got a stable job. Once I got my stable job, she wanted to quit her job and I was supportive of it. We had a big discussion about what we wanted for our lives and future. I told her I would love to be a full-time worker providing the money while she is a stay-at-home wife. She was happy about that. Despite our overall happiness with the situation, she would have bouts of anger with me over things that seemed random to me. I felt like I had to walk on eggshells around her a lot. During our entire marriage, until about a year before the separation, I was emotionally neglectful of her. She wanted to go out and do things with me but I would decline 90% of the time because I felt mentally exhausted after work and wanted to relax. I regret not spending more quality time with her immensely. It eats me alive thinking of all the times she wanted to go do things with me and I said no. After 3 years of marriage we decided we want to have a kid. We were both very happy and optimistic about becoming parents. She agreed that she would be a stay-at-home mom while I focus on working full-time. Fast forward and our son was born. I was so happy and excited, but for her it was like a switch was flipped. In the hospital she was very angry that he wasn't breastfeeding how she thought he was supposed to. She was crying horribly and was extremely irritable. The night we got home, our son was crying and not breastfeeding. She screamed at him to shut up, looked at me and said I can't do this, it's not too late. We can give him up for adoption. And just handed him to me while he cried. I was so heartbroken by that. I had this ideal parenting plan in my mind and she was giving up on day 1. I just held him and rocked him and cried. The next day I thought about it and kind of brushed it off as probably postpartum depression. I asked her to go to therapy, and she agreed. She was diagnosed with depression and given antidepressants. For the first 2 years of our son's life I really didn't help as much as I feel I should have in retrospect. Again it boiled down to me feeling emotionally exhausted after work and just wanting to relax. I spent about an hour a day with them after work. She would ask me to watch him while she showers and a lot of times I would say you can shower when he goes to sleep, if he doesn't by a certain time let me know and I'll watch him. I regret that a lot, not helping her do the things she needs when she needs it. That's the main thing she cites now that we're separated is that I never helped to let her shower or do her basic needs. Her episodes of anger with our son continued. At times she would get so angry and just blow up and scream in his face at the top of her lungs. Most of the time she was okay and a good mom, but she had horrible episodes of anger at him and me as well. It was starting to feel like I had to walk on eggshells all the time now. I would have talks with her after every episode and she would always say then just help me. When I get in those horrible states I need help. I can't control myself when I get to that point. That's how most of our parenting years went. Me working full-time, her taking care of the kid full-time and the house/errands etc. We usually went out on family dates about once a week, and I spent about an hour a day with them on average on work days. The rest of my free time was usually spent on video games or just relaxing and watching YouTube. About 6 months before our separation, I got a part-time job on top of my full-time job as it was a good opportunity and the money was great for the little work I had to do. It was incredibly stressful for me, but having that lot of extra money was amazing and we redid our house and got new furniture we sorely needed. It was also around that time she started hanging out with her 2 friends again. They are a married couple. She was going to their house a lot and taking our son. I was starting to get jealous and miss her because she was spending so much time up there. She was basically going to their house every day I allowed her to. We had to come to an agreement that she would only go up there 1 night a week. She agreed but was always trying to stretch it by saying things like well Tuesday didn't count because I was only up there a few hours and etc. I had always worried about her friends. She was always way too close to the husband over there. They would have nights where they drank alone. He was very hands-on with her on a lot of occasions, rubbing her shoulders in front of me and everything, and she confessed her suicidal thoughts to him and she didn't about it until months later. We had also discussed swinging with them before we got married, but it never worked out. Point is, I always worried about them, but she always told me they are just like a brother/sister to her and nothing was going on. We both loved having the extra money now, but she didn't seem very happy and I couldn't figure out why. She was getting distant from me. The stress of her distance and me working 2 jobs got to me and I started drinking pretty heavily. For my standards, I was drinking about 3 to 4 times a week. I would always drink at night after our son was asleep and I was never abusive or annoying to her while I drank. I just kept to myself in my man cave. The drinking went on for about 2 months. One night I broke down crying to my wife about how stressed I was, and she told me she didn't care as much about the money as she did about my health, so she was supportive of me quitting one of my jobs. I decided to quit my full-time job. I disliked working my part-time job, which paid about the same and had a lot more upward mobility. I was feeling great after making that decision. We had a lot of money saved up from my 2 jobs and lots of new things in the house, and I was on the track to a better job and a more freeing schedule. I told her I planned on spending much more time with her and my son now that I would only be working part-time. But, I still had to work the last 2 weeks at my full-time job before I could quit, so I was still very stressed but optimistic. About a week later my wife had another blow-up on my son. I sat her down and told her that the blow-ups had to end or I will have no choice but to divorce because they are harmful to our son and it's abuse. I had never threatened divorce before, but I was so fed up with the blow-ups not stopping for 2 years. She told me she just can't handle being a full-time mom and that she is very resentful of our son and wishes she never decided to have him. We had a long argument, but in the end we reconciled and I told her once I work a part-time job I will be able to help a lot more with our son. She was still upset though, I could tell. Over the next few days she was extremely distant. She went up to her friend's house the second night in 1 week. I was very upset, but she said I need to be selfish right now. Then she stayed a 3rd night. I was infuriated. She finally came home after 3 nights and of course we got into an argument because she broke our deal for 1 night a week. She was being avoidant and just saying okay and I just need to be selfish. She said she wanted to go for a walk to clear her mind, not out of the ordinary for her. She stays out for a few hours. I even called to check on her and she sounded okay. Well, about 30 minutes after my last call to her, her 2 friends pulled up in front of my house and told me she tried to kill herself and she was being rushed to the hospital. I was blown away. I had no idea at all. She called them when her attempt failed and they called the ambulance. She didn't call me. She had to stay in the hospital for over a week and had minimal phone calls with me. In the calls we had, she sounded very detached and hardly bothered to ask about me or our son. In fact, she said at least this is a good chance for him to stop breastfeeding. She said she called her friends instead of me because you wouldn't have taken it seriously. During her stay I was adamant on fixing our relationship and was bringing her food/gifts while she was there. When she got out, she was seeming very detached and distant. She was diagnosed with bipolar, major depressive, and anxiety and given new medications. We had a long talk about what we can do to make her more comfortable. I agreed we would split the housework/errands/taking care of the baby 50-50 right down the middle so she can get a part-time job or relax. She agreed, but was still distant. The very next morning after she got out, she spent literally 5 minutes with our son before heading off to her friend's house without my knowledge. She stayed there for a few hours then came back. I was infuriated again. She hadn't seen me or our son in over a week and the first thing she does is go off to her friends again. I was so angry, but again we reconciled. Things were normal for 2 days, but she was detached and distant. She was asking when she could spend another night with her friends. I told her I didn't want her going up there for a while and that she needed to be focusing on her family and healing. I was helping her a ton during those 2 days and allowing her a lot of free time to relax and do what she wanted. But when I couldn't help and when I was working, she was not taking good care of our son anymore. She was just sitting on her phone most of the time and letting him cry. I confronted her and told her she needs to cherish the time she has with our son and treat him the way he deserves. That's when it started pouring out of her. I can't do this, I don't want to be a mom. I hate being a mom. I regret having a baby more than anything. I don't love you and I haven't for a long time. I told her if she truly feels that way then we need to separate. She nodded her head and called her friends to pick her up, then she was gone. I was alone with the baby. The next day my mind went into panic mode. I felt like I couldn't let our relationship end. We had been through too much together, there had to be something that could fix it. But no, she said it was over and there is nothing that can fix the hurt I had caused her by not helping with our son and helping her do the little things she needed. She says I hurt her beyond repair, drove her to suicide, and destroyed her self-esteem. She says she felt like she had no value because I didn't value her enough to let her take a shower. She said she regrets settling for her high school sweetheart. She turned around her abuse of our son on me, saying she isn't resentful of him but actually of me, and that she was taking it out on him and she regrets it. I tried for weeks to reconcile, offering to take her out to do things we always wanted, showing her how I've changed and can be a better father/husband, but she rejected it all. When we did go out and do things with our son, she was completely detached from me and repulsed by my shows of affection. She says I would have enjoyed these things if you did them before, now I do not enjoy them because I do not love you anymore. She has been living with her friends since we separated and she seems happier than ever. They pamper her to an extreme degree. She has no responsibilities at all and no job. They have a schedule where they all hang out and do something new every day. She doesn't talk to me at all except when she needs something or wants to see our son. Her words about our son do not match her actions. On the days she does come to see him, she still has her outbursts and doesn't treat him the way he deserves, ignoring him to play on her phone most of the time. Now that we have separated, I found out that she has been smoking behind my back for over a year. I am anti-smoking and she knows that, but she was smoking every day for over a year and didn't tell me until we separated. She gaslighted me dozens of times over that year about the smoking, intensifying my trust issues which I had cried to her about before. Little did I know she was gaslighting me the whole time. I'm having a hard time getting over the guilt of the mistakes I made while we were married, but at the same time I feel like she's making excuses for her own selfish actions, blaming me when the true reason she left was because she didn't want to be a mother and didn't want the restraints of a marriage. She was 100% emotionally cheating. I know this because she was telling her friends a lot of things I didn't know, and they were becoming her replacement for me. When things got uncomfortable she would retreat to them. As for if she physically cheated, who knows? So, there's my story. Was I really that bad of a husband? Was the emotional neglect of the past really irreconcilable, or is it just an excuse for her to leave me because she didn't want to be a mom/wife? For those who read all of this, thanks, and I look forward to hearing your input. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.